Hello, everyone. So excited today. Got a super special guest, Dr. Marcus Bright, longtime friend of Rising Coaches. Got a cool connection with the CEO of Rising Coaches, which I'll let him tell that a little bit. But super excited for the things he's doing and just can't wait for you guys to be blessed with all that he's going to bring knowledge-wise to the table. Good morning. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, excited to do it, man. Excited to do it. So tell people your background a little bit, and then also your connection to the CEO of Rising Coaches, and then tell people what you're doing now, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm originally from a town called Martin, Tennessee. I'm the first generation of my family not to pick cotton. So education played a pivotal way. I grew up playing basketball, high school, college, went to Palm Beach Community College, and then to the University of Tampa, where Rising Coaches CEO Adam Gordon was a student assistant coach. And from there, went on back into education, got a PhD from Florida Atlantic University. I've taught at 5 universities, been a student athlete academic coordinator at FIU, ran an organization called Education for a Better America, which is a sister organization to the Civil Rights Group National Action Network, where we did programming in 15 different cities. Currently district administrator for the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project, a dropout prevention and mentorship program based in Miami-Dade County Public Schools with 117 chapters here, but also it is embedded in different school districts across the country. Published over 150 articles with diverse issues in higher education, Huffington Post, Miami Herald, Griot, and some other publications. And right now I'm excited to be a senior advisor for the Rising Coaches Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance as we embark on a historic journey over the next few months.
Yeah, senior advisor. We're obviously on the DEI Alliance spotlight. It's only right that you're getting some love today. Talk a little bit about this, a little bit about the senior advisory, and then talk about the big event that's coming up that everyone is starting to buzz about and get excited about within college basketball.
Well, I'm just excited to leverage whatever knowledge or skills and abilities that I may have to Rising Coaches. I really believe in this platform, and I believe that coaches are among the most powerful organizers, the most powerful people in the country, in that they have access to so many young men and women, and they are able to be with them consistently, and they provide not just sports instruction, but life instruction, and they have an ability to organize and galvanize around different issues using sports as a platform to elevate important issues. And that's what we want to do with the upcoming Equity and Inclusion Night campaign. We want to organize college basketball around issues of social justice, around issues of civil rights. And I believe that it has a capacity to elevate these issues, elevate the social consciousness, not only of the student athletes, but of the entire campuses and the surrounding communities in the campuses, and give them a voice, give them a platform, give them an alleyway, a highway to put these issues that are important to them, not just to them, but also to their families, and be able to create the climate for some important policy and practice and pattern changes in our country.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is the whole initiative from the beginning is about wanting to bring awareness for change. Not just to only celebrate equality and inclusion, but to try to figure out more ways to implement change and implement a better way of doing things and a better way of living and a better way of just kind of consciousness of these things. So excited about all you're doing because you're going to be able to help take it to a whole nother level. We already know that. The night itself, February 10th through the 22nd. So it's a range similar to Coaches versus Cancer. Is kind of how I explain it. People are used to getting a pin, wearing the pin, wearing the sneakers. And in this case, it's wearing a pin that's an equal sign, and also wearing black, preferably to match kind of that equality and inclusion night. So the question is, what game are you going to go to? Are you going to go to a game? Are you going to be live in the building during that 10th through 22nd? Are we going to see you on social media representing? What you got for us, Marcus?
I plan on going to several games, and I'm doing this this broadcast here from the kitchen because we're in the kitchen cooking up something great.
Let's go.
And I really look forward. We're asking all of college men's and women's college basketball to wear black on that night and to identify an issue or issues that are important to the members of the team and the coaching staff that they can elevate, that they can make important in their local communities, and hopefully stimulate some policy change or change in practices at the state, federal, or local level, or all of the above. But we have a tremendous, I think that we are college athletics and college athletes in particular are social justice sleeping giants in terms of the amount of impact and influence that they can have. And I'm just excited. So I'm going to wait to see what teams are focusing on, what issues that we could potentially help to elevate and craft narrative around, and do my best, my very best to help to give them information, opportunities, and exposure and connectivity to different people, because I think that this can be a great platform to convene different people, policymakers, stakeholders, people who are already engaging in particular issues. And so I plan on being all over the country and helping to elevate and put a spotlight on what these student athletes are doing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's just going to be cool to see how it all kind of takes a life of its own, right? It's not something that's trying to be completely controlled by rising coaches by any means, but we're just trying to plant the seed and let it grow and see what kind of grows from there and where people take their own different initiatives and causes that they believe in. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about your back in the day. You played. Adam was obviously a part of the coaching staff, and you play for other coaches. And you're working with rising coaches. What is your thoughts on kind of the role that a coach plays in this whole dynamic of sports and influence?
Coaches are incredibly important. I mean, I had my biological father, but I also had other fathers in the form of coaches. And growing up and playing soccer and baseball and basketball, they were mentors. They were incredibly important in terms of facilitating opportunity. I'm from Martin, Tennessee, but I played AAU basketball beginning at the age of 13. I would spend most of my summers in Memphis, first for the Memphis Bellevue War Eagles, and then for the Nike-sponsored team out of Memphis, the Memphis YMCA. And there were just so many life lessons that I learned in terms of interacting with people who were from different communities or different areas of Memphis, going on road trips and receiving empower. I was really empowered and having my own confidence and self-belief built in. I can remember Coach William Anderson, I think he's the athletic director at Lemoyne Owen College now in Memphis. He was my coach, but he instilled so much confidence in me and had me believing that I could compete on the basketball court with anybody in the country. And so many things that I learned playing basketball are transferable to life, how to work with other people, how to perform under pressure, how to come together, how to rally when you get behind, to not give up, but to build momentum and to get wins. And that's exactly what we want to do with the equality and inclusion. It's beyond just a night. It's a campaign. We want to generate. We saw a lot of momentum around social justice and civil rights in the aftermath of the tragic killing of George Floyd. And since then, we've seen some of that rescind, and we haven't seen the same kind of energy and enthusiasm towards these issues. And so this night is an opportunity to re-energize, to re-galvanize around some of these issues, and to also elevate other issues, because I think that sometimes we let the national media dictate or tell us what issues are important. Now we're letting an organic push from the student athlete, from their families, from their communities, and let us know what issues are important, and then we can then put some supports around that to help elevate that and help create the kind of change that they want to see, that is going to push our communities forward. And so it's one and the same. The lessons that we learn from athletics, practice. If the championship game is on January 30th, I tell students all the time, you're not going to wait until the 29th to start practicing, but you're going to practice every day. So that's transferable into the classroom. It's transferable to life. And so I'm grateful for the role of the tremendous coaches in my life and for the experience that I had in athletics. And I carry all of those lessons forward even today.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I think that you speak for a lot of people on that. So love the way you eloquently put that. I'm curious to know, you talked a little bit about this. Let's dive in a little bit more on the role you think, the potential role you think sports can play in the platform of social justice and of change and of equality and inclusion, which is what this night is about.
Well, sports is one of the few uh, things in America that people voluntarily gather around from all different backgrounds, from different races and religions and genders and geographical backgrounds and what have you. And on the playing field, it doesn't matter how much money you have or what kind of family you came from. It's your ability versus my ability. But often that kind of equality and level playing field ends when the game ends. And so what we want to do is create an environment where that kind of equitable playing field, where people have access and are included and are given a fair shot to uh, to be recipients of the American dream, to be recipients of the prosperity that the country has to offer. And I think that the elevated platform that athletes have, particularly college athletes, and I have to give rising coaches the I have to salute the courage of rising coaches for being on the forefront of the NIL issue, the name, image, and likeness issue, when it was bubbling up last year before the NCAA tournament. Rising coaches and the DEI Alliance were one of the few groups that that was unapologetic in the corner of these student athletes and helped to generate some momentum around that. And I think played a major role in ultimately what happened in July in terms of NIL passing and now students and their families being able to benefit in a new way from opportunities that have been created. And so I think that there are some more breakthroughs on the horizon, not just in athletics, but I think that in our society overall. And as we uh, prepare to celebrate and commemorate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. next week, I think that one example that athletes can play is to continue his final campaign. And that was about economic justice. It's about economic inclusion. And I think that that has been unfortunately put on the back burner, even in civil rights, as there's been a lot of focus and rightfully so on police brutality, on voting rights, and rightfully so. But we cannot forget about his final campaign, which was economic justice, economic inclusion, and creating a better way of life for people to be able to sustain themselves, because we're in an environment of a quickly accelerating cost in terms of housing, in terms of gas, in terms of food, just living, period. And so we want to provide means both from a government intervention standpoint in terms of creating a level playing field, but also coming behind that, which is what rising coaches will also be engaged in throughout the spring in terms of having on-campus workshops to help student athletes become economically empowered and learning about saving and learning about investing and learning about these new avenues with cryptocurrency and how to better brand themselves and how to build a business and how to invest in real estate and really get all the tools that they can to economically empower themselves and their communities.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of awesome stuff there. I want to go back. I know you've worked in education. You've worked with Education for Better America. You worked with 5,000 role models. You've done a lot of really strong and positive work. So I'm curious, one, about what you said about the final campaign around economic justice. How you see maybe DEI Alliance and rising coaches playing a role in that. And I think you touched on a little bit of going on campus and doing workshops. Do you mind just giving a little preview of what that can look like, or how people can find out more, or how people may be able to even sign up if that's something that they want to do at their particular campus?
Yeah, they can reach out To anyone at Rising Coaches or myself, or I'll give you my email right now, drmarcusbright@gmail.com. You can reach out directly to me. Again, drmarcusbright@gmail.com if you'd like for us to come to your campus and be able to facilitate some of these workshops and some of this programming. We're actually going to kick it off right here in Miami, and we can tailor it. We tailor it to what is going on in that particular area. So in Miami right now, for example, there's a big tech boom. Silicon Valley has landed on us here in Miami. There's a big, many tech companies are coming in. The mayor wants to make it the capital of capital. And so that presents both a challenge and an opportunity here in South Florida. And the challenge, the opportunity is that you no longer have to go to Silicon Valley or to New York or what have you to plug into this tech sector. But the opportunities have come here. The challenge is, how do we integrate those that are already here or those that are graduating from the University of Miami or FIU or Florida Memorial University or FAU? How can they be prepared to be a part of this tech revolution and not be left behind? And so we're going to assemble tech companies to have a tech career exposure workshop so that student athletes can understand the diversity of the economic opportunities in the tech sector, both with employment and entrepreneurship. We're also going to have workshops on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, so they can get a real feed and an understanding about how to engage in that space. And then we're going to have special workshops on how they can maximize certain name, image, and likeness opportunities. Again, we're really focusing on economic development here, and then also a briefing on some economic policy engagement that they can participate in if they choose to, or at least have information on, both at the state, federal, and local level. And so we really want to have a holistic approach here, both personal responsibility, but also social responsibility, because we all have a responsibility to create a better way of life for the next generation, because so many sacrifices have been made for us to have a better way of life. And so it is incumbent upon us to pay it forward, to make a difference for the next generation, and for those who did not have the benefit of being able to play college basketball, being able to be on a scholarship, or even have that kind of sports platform. And so we're all anybody that has had the ability and opportunity to play at that level. It's an incredible blessing. And so it's all about opportunity, exposure, and connectivity. That's what we want to do with this campaign.
Yeah, looking forward to more connectivity. I know we have your email at the bottom now for people to be able to get access to Dr. Marcus Bright himself. Excited about you joining with Rising Coaches. I know you talked about it. You and Adam have a close relationship and go back. I guess that my question would be, what excites you the most about this new phase? You're kind of moving in away from some things that you've done. You kind of have a little more flexibility and working directly with Rising Coaches. What part about this new venture for 2022 excites you?
Bringing together sports and policy and empowerment. And I just believe that sports, not just at the college level, but at the high school, middle school, youth league level, it is the most powerful organizing force, I believe, in the country, in terms of reaching the masses of people, giving them information, giving them education, opportunity, and providing avenues for them to be civically engaged in the process and to be the change that they want to see. And so I think that I'm just really, really excited, because I believe in the power of sports to transform America in a different way, and really transform this world. But we're going to start America with this tour here, with first Equality and Inclusion Night, and then coming behind that with a broad series, a blitz of on-campus education workshops, and coupled with community empowerment sessions in the surrounding communities that the institutions are located. So I'm really, really excited to work with you all, work with you, Brian, certainly Mr. Daryl Jacobs, Kim Hampton, Adam Gordon, and so many, the whole Rising Coaches family, which is one of the most powerful networks in America.
Yeah, looking forward to having you. Definitely added a power player to the squad. It's like LeBron coming to go with D Wade in the free agency, man. We got a huge pickup that's going to make a lot of impact and change. Let's talk about the personal side of yourself, family, kind of what has driven you into the spaces you are. We can see how passionate you are. We see how knowledgeable you are. It didn't just happen overnight, but there's something in you that's made you passionate about these topics and passionate about the work you're doing. And then just talk a little bit about family or who's important to you outside of this so people can get a chance to get a little bit of behind the scenes peek at Dr. Marcus Bright.
Well, my parents were obviously my biggest influence, and my mom, she passed away January 17th of 2020. That's 2021, last year. And, she used to have these Black history programs at our church, and she would put posters of Dr. King and Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and W.E.B. Du Bois, and she would put them all around the church fellowship hall first, and then she would bring it back and then put it all around our house. So I grew up looking at these figures, and she would bring home documentaries, the Eyes on the Prize series, and so it was always, yes, I wanted to be like Michael Jordan and achieve basketball greatness. But even more so, I wanted to be one of those history-making trailblazers that I looked up to, like Frederick Douglass, and make a historical contribution to humanity. And so that was always my aim, and they put that in me. As I mentioned, I'm the first generation of my family not to pick cotton. It was education that paved a better way of life for us. And so between education, public policy, civil rights, sports, I always wanted to be in that sector. And so in that sense, I guess I'm living my childhood dream right now. And I think that this is a now or never moment for our country, and an opportunity to make a transformational historic impact. So many things are changing as we're still in the grips of this COVID-19 pandemic, which really disrupted our society and caused a crisis on the one hand, but it brought many opportunities on the other hand. And this is an opportunity here to reshuffle the deck, to change the way that we view each other, change the way that public policy and civic engagement, and even the role of sports in America and how it can be used to make an impact way past the playing field and to create a better way of life and carry Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream forward of a more just society so that we can live up to the better angels of our nature and be a country that embodies the ideals that we put on paper.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And we've seen some pictures recently of you with the little man, the second version. Talk a little bit about him. I know that's a joy for you. I can see the smiles. It lights you up. I got little ones myself, so I already know what that's like. But talk a little bit about him and that kind of motivation as you're passing the torch to your next generation. And then we'll end with a funny story before you go on our CEO, Adam Gordon.
Yeah, my son, he just turned 3 years old, and he is an incredible motivating factor for me. And I'm just blessed to have him, to have a legacy. And it's really about him and his generation and trying to lay the groundwork so that they can have an elevated playing field of opportunity, even that surpasses even what we had. And so it is incumbent upon us now to make the necessary sacrifices, make the necessary adjustments to solidify his future in the future of his generation, and to make America better, man. So no, definitely, I'm grateful to have my son, and I'm grateful for the support system that he has. And if you're listening, son, 20 years from now, I love you. 5 years from now, I still love you.
I love it. I love it. It never stops. All right. We always like to end with a funny story as best we can, trying to lighten the mood, show a different side of things. So one funny story, and your funny story particularly, or good story, it can be good, doesn't have to be funny, but if you can connect it to the CEO, so we can get a little bit of trash talk, we can nudge him with that. That would be a good thing for all of the Rising Coaches family.
Well, I'm grateful for Adam. I was at Palm Beach Community College, and I went on a recruiting trip to the University of Tampa, and one of my primary hosts was Adam Gordon there, and I'm grateful for Adam. I don't necessarily for a funny story, I used to just give everybody middle names, just random middle names. So I don't even know what Adam's middle name is, but I started calling him Adam Clifford Gordon. I don't know. So to this day, he called us. I said Adam Clifford Gordon, and just so it's just something that we laugh about and we connect on. But now Adam's a great guy, a visionary, and somebody that I really respect, and who has the courage and competence to move the coaching profession forward and to make an even broader change in this country and in this world. Salute to Adam Gordon. Salute to Rising Coaches.
No doubt. Salute all the way. So he hosted you on your visit. Is that what you said?
He did. He sent somebody to get the Popeyes chicken, and it was in Tampa. We went out a little bit that night, and it was a great visit. And awesome. Adam, it's a testament to somebody who really paid his dues. Began as a student assistant coach, and then worked his way up through the ranks. I think his first stop was at Central Florida Community College, and then he was at Clemson and Mississippi State, and a number of different routes. And now he's giving back in a different kind of way and supporting other coaches on their journey, and not just being a prisoner of the athletic spectrum only, but also utilizing the platform to make a broader difference in society. So it's incredible. Much respect.
I couldn't agree more. I always say providing a light, Rising Coaches is a light within this industry, which can have some dark spots and some dark moments. It's competitive, and sometimes you can feel like, where do we turn in order to just have some allies, in order to just have some genuine help to get where we want to go without having these ulterior motives. So salute to Rising Coaches. Salute to you joining the family. You were already a part of the family, but now it's a little more official with the title, and just excited for the work you're going to do. Much respect from myself, Daryl, Kim. I think I speak for all of us with the Alliance. We know how much value you bring, and we're just excited to continue to make as much change as we can together. So thanks, everybody, for joining. And again, you can find Dr. Marcus Bright on social media as well as on his email, drmarcusbright@gmail.com. And then we'll give him the floor for any last words, and then we will let you guys have a great rest of the day.
Last word, if you're wherever you're located in the country, there's a college or university that has a basketball team close by, and encourage your team to participate in the upcoming Equality and Inclusion Night and connect with them. Be a part of raising the social consciousness of our country, and know that we can make a difference. If you believe it, you can achieve it, and we can do it. Rising Coaches, let's make history in 2022.
Amen. You can find more about the Equality Night on www.risingcoaches.com. There's a specific page you can go to just for that. And if you go to the social media, which this will be broadcast on, is pinned to the top of the page, because it is nothing more important than that right now for Rising Coaches. So without further ado, we appreciate everything so much. Look forward to seeing your face more, and God bless, and be safe out there. And then February 10th through the 22nd, plug into the Equality and Inclusion Night. Thanks.